Alright.
Hello, I'm Ian Chung, and today I'm going to talk about the topic, is love the best way to fill our deficiencies? Have you ever fell in love? I'm not talking about some random feelings like, oh, she's so cute, I might enjoy dating her. No, I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about some passionate feelings that might drive you crazy. And have you ever realized the reason why you love? Yes? No? Well, let me make this question a little bit more difficult. Maybe you love a person because he is beautiful, but how can you be sure if you're not just thinking that he's beautiful because you love him? Today I'm going to talk about love, and I'm suggesting that we don't fall in love because the other person is decent in general, but we get put down a special feeling because of a single trait of the person. And how do we decide the single trait of the person? People have the tendencies to fill their deficiencies through love by loving someone who's got something that they don't. As my first basis, we'll take a quick look at 3 of my ex-loves. And first, back when I loved the person, I was really passionate. I was thinking that the person was so perfect, and I would never meet a person like that. But now I realize that I just like the person who had the traits that I wanted to achieve by myself at that time of my life. The first person was a really active one, and back when I liked him, I was a really quiet person, unlike now. And I know that it sounds really funny and weird now that I think of it, but I first fell in love with him when I saw him dancing frantically under loud hip-hop music in the classroom. And the next person was in an acting club, and he also had profound knowledge about movies. And in my 3rd year of high school, I spent most of my time studying and looking at a person who had other interests and who really knew what he liked and enjoyed life. Seemed really attractive to me. And the 3rd person was the person who made me realize that we just fall in love because the person has the traits that we want to achieve ourselves. Because I myself knew that it was so stupid to love him. I loved him just before I entered this university, and back then I felt like I'm not mature or ready enough to be an adult, although I already became 20 years old. And this person looked so responsible in every aspect of his life. But luckily, I was quick to realize that considering his age, 28, being an adult does not make him a wonderful person. And I also realized that I would be a better person when I become 28. So I quickly stopped liking him with this important lesson in my life. Next. And as my second basis, going way back up to ancient Greece, Plato talked about us trying to fill our deficiencies by loving somebody who has the traits that we want to get by ourselves. He talked about Eros, the god of love. Next. As a quick background information, Plato looked at the world in dualism. He considered that the world is comprised of the phenomenal world and the ideal world. And Eros is a desire that tries to go from the phenomenal, imperfect world to the perfect, ideal world. This can be explained by the background story of Eros' birth. He was born between Poros, the god of abundance, and Peña, the goddess of poverty. So Eros is basically an attraction that tries to move from the Peña side of himself to the Poros side of himself to make himself more perfect. And this Eros operates in our minds each time we fall in love. The Peña part of ourselves fall in love with the Poros part of somebody else's. So love is basically the strong will to make a part of ourselves more perfect. So whoever we love, the ultimate target of love is ourselves, because we don't love somebody because the person is so attractive, but we love them because they have something that can make ourselves more perfect. However, attraction to what you desire, fooling you by looking like an attraction to a certain person, can cause several problems. First of all, once you filled your deficiencies, the traits that you really wanted to achieve and lack may not seem so great after all. Actually, a study by Professor Heeyoun family from University of Pennsylvania shows that more than 30% of people stop liking their lovers because of the same reason they started liking the person. For example, a woman may fall in love with a taciturn man and then suddenly become angry that he won't talk to her very much when she wanted to have a longer conversation. Luckily, the previous example wasn't really a dangerous one, but there can be dangerous problems when you love someone because of their single trait, and then you perceive that the person is so perfect in general. And the most famous example is the story of Myla Hindley. She's considered the cruelest woman in English history. She was originally a really timid person, and then she fell in love with Ian Bradley, who was bold, extroverted, and he seemed like he would do anything. She was so in love with him and that she would do anything with him that together they killed 5 children in a row after raping them. Next. Today I've ran through what happens in our minds when we fall in love. People don't just love somebody because the person is so attractive, but they fall in love because they have the traits that they want themselves. And I'm also suggesting that this could be sometimes dangerous. Our brains fool themselves that we are in love with a perfect person, when we're actually loving someone who's just got something that we lack. Yes, the person we love isn't perfect, but luckily, that fact does not make the person unworthy to be loved. We can love the person, but we should always remember that our minds can fool ourselves whenever we are in love. So, just maybe we could be in love because we have a giant hole in ourselves that we want to fill. And sometimes it would be a marvelous experience to fill that hole by loving somebody. Sometimes that could be great. But sometimes there could be better options. Like sometimes you can try new things. Try to become a better person. Try to become the perfect person that you desire. Not just waiting for somebody to appear and waiting for you to love somebody. Because you can do it. You can be the person you desire. Thank you for listening. Next slide, please. Now we'll start a group discussion. And please look at the agenda that I gave you, or you can just either look at the slides too. My first question is, have you ever fell in love, and did you realize the reason why you like the person? I know that talking about your own experiences about love could be